Hey, welcome back. Today it's all about making modern techno with a machine that is over 20 years old. Okay, nice. So today it's about, like I said, modern techno with the EMX-1. And what I mean with modern is like the combination between the kick and the bass. So the combo is a very tight unit, and I show you how I do it here. And the second thing is the percussions. So the percussions here are a good foundation for the overall pattern. And the last thing is I want to show you is the integration with Ableton. So we use a free plugin called Sting, and yeah, it generates pattern, and we can combine it with the electribe. So the MIDI information goes into the EMX-1, and we can use it to trigger our sounds here. So first of all, I show you the kick, and here we have two options, and I show you the one, the first one is also the one I use here. So just use a sample kick. We can tune it. Okay. But there's also another way, and that is using the synth part section here, because here you also can use samples, and the samples go through the cutoff, and you can also use the drive. And I think a lot of people use that by using the kick with the synth part, and I show you how you do that. So we go to another pattern here and just select the sample section, go to the kick, and normally when you choose oscillator here, it's like a keyboard, but when you use the sample section, then every step is another sample. Okay. And for example, we use this one here, and we just record it. Then I turn off the kick here, and then we just hear our kick from our synth part. And now we can use the drive. Let's see how that sounds. Okay, so you see you can play around with the drive and also the cutoff. So for some kick samples, they have a relatively strong high end, and when it's too much for you, then you can cut off the highs. But I personally use just the normal kick in the sample section here, because often I use all the 5 synth parts here for the synth voices, and so I have enough space. And yeah, also here you can tune every sample by using the pitch knob, and here you can't tune the kick itself. So some samples have have like a pitch. So for example, the first kick here have different tunes. So yeah, you have a variety, but then the following sample kicks just have one tone. So you have to use it like this. But yeah, and that's the reason I use the kick here. Okay, then the bass. And the bass sound is a very cool technique. So we just hear it on solo. And now together with the kick. And I think that sounds very strong. And you achieve that by, we can go back to our empty pattern here. We have this kick here, or maybe this. Okay, and on synth part 1, we just use a simple waveform, like I think the sine wave. And then you can use the arpeggiator here. And then it's important to know that it's not about the right tune, because I show you a trick, and this trick makes the tune not so important. So we just record a pattern here together with the kick. Okay. And then, first of all, you can delete the steps here, because it's the same steps that also the kick is playing, and you can avoid that both clashing each other. And yeah, so, and then the trick is that you turn the modulation to envelope, and then the pitch, and turn it in the minus area. And the other thing you have to do is using the cutoff envelope, and also turn it in minus, so you get rid of the clicky noise. Okay, nice. And now it sounds already good. And yeah, like I said, it's not about the right tones, it's more about the movement of the frequencies. And in my example here, it sounds like this. So I like the movement of the bass, it's very nice, and here I also use a sine wave. By the way, if you want to support me, you can subscribe the channel or become a Patreon. Thank you. And we go back to the pitch and use it on the percussion. So we go to the clave and we hear it first on solo. And here in the synth part, you can go to the step edit and change every tone step by step. But in the drum part and the sample part, it's not possible. You have to do it by automate the pitch. So what I did here, I pressed record, and then when you turn on the motion sequence, then you can turn every knob, and then after you press stop, then you go in the step edit, go to mod destination, and here it says pitch. So now we can control the pitch. And what I did here is the first tone is the original sample tone, and the second is a little lower. So when we go here, you see it's minus 27. When I change it, and now I show you, before we come to Ableton, the noise. The noise engine, and when you combine the noise engine with the LFO on the cutoff, then it's also very interesting and very rhythmical. We go back to our empty pattern here. We recorded kick and bass already. And now, before I create a pattern, I first activate the delay and chain it with the reverb. When you want to know more about chaining and all the other basic functions here, I also made a video about the basic knowledge of the EMX-1, so that may be a video for you. So right now I create the noise here, and it sounds, first of all, I activate the delay and reverb, and now I create the pattern. Make it a little bit shorter, and you already hear it sounds a little bit like a hi-hat. And that's a very nice way to add more rhythm into your pattern. Maybe I change to 2 bars to make it more interesting. Okay. Okay, and I recorded it on the fly. Then I go to the modulation, like I said, go to cutoff, and then we use we use a triangle wave and see how that sounds. And I also activate the BPM sync, so it's a little bit more, yeah, a little bit more synced. So that would be a good background percussion. And yeah, then the last thing we can do is automate the decay. Don't forget to turn on the motion sequence. As you can hear, the decay changes and makes it a little bit more interesting. And of course you can automate nearly everything. So even the effect selection, or if the FX send is on or not. And yeah, so you can change a lot. Or for example, the type of the waveform from the LFO. Okay, then also a very important part is this sound here. It's a good foundation, and it makes very fun to program this sequence. So you go to the sample engine here, go to Percussion, and then use the arpeggiator. This sounds very nice. And then just play around and see if you like it. And if you like it, of course, then you can press record. Then we add a little drive. Okay, so you can see you can, yeah, you can create very easy rhythmic foundation. Okay, the other element we come to now is this one here. And the sound, first of all, is with the cross modulation synth oscillator, and it's basically, yeah, like a FM sound, and you can play around with the FM modulation. Yeah, you can get very nasty results. That's very nice. And here I modulated the cutoff, so not with the LFO, but by hand. So I started with the cutoff here, so high pass filter, and then started with very high and then go low. So it's a very nice effect. First I turn off the panning. Okay. Okay. Yeah, and then I just pressed record and recorded it. And in combination with the pan. It's very nice. Okay. Then we come finally to Ableton, and that is also a very fun way to find patterns, because like I said, it's not so easy to copy or to create sequences here. You can use the arpeggiator and make patterns, or you can go into the step edit and change every step, but that's sometimes a very hard thing to do. So we can just use the MIDI input here and use a pattern generator from Ableton. And yeah, like I said, I use the Sting, and the Sting is it's basically for acid patterns, but you can use it for every kind of techno pattern. And we can just create a pattern here. So maybe I go to our second, to the empty pattern, but it's not empty anymore, of course. This was this one here. And then it's important to choose the right channel. So it's very easy. I chose channel 4, and then the MIDI information goes to 4. And we can also check it here when we go to the MIDI. Oh, it's on channel 1, but now I change it to channel 4. Then when I activate the Sting, we should hear the sound. Okay. The pattern you hear is from the Sting, and when you don't like the pattern, you can just press the smiley here, and then we have a new pattern. But first of all, change the sound. We change the sound. So I just use a simple waveform, maybe use 2 oscillators and tune the second one to a tritone. So the classic techno interval. Then the other thing I use here is a pitch. You can also transpose the oscillators in the machine, but it's easier to do it in Ableton. Okay, that sounds already good. Then I use the reverb. Okay, and also it's a little busy, so we can change the density. Let's hear it in context. That sounds also very nice, to use the cross mod and to get a percussive pattern. But I want to show you another tool from Ableton, and that is the random function. And for this I changed it back again to the waveform, so we have a tonal sound here. So it's a bit more nasty. And I also activated the minor pentatonic. So we have a little bit, yeah, of a scale, but not the classic scale. We have reduced it to 5 different options, so pentatonic. And I recommend using first a pentatonic instead of a scale, because often less is more. And yeah, then the other thing is to use the randomize, and then we have a little variation. We can see how that sounds. Okay, nice. So you see, yeah, sometimes we have a different tone every 10%, and that makes it more interesting. And when you record it and use 8 bars and then record it here in the electribe, I will do it in a minute, then it's, yeah, it sounds very nice. So, okay, then I just have to, well, I just first record it here in Ableton. Okay, so now I have it safe here in the case that we change the pattern again. And now I record it in the electribe. So just press record and then press play. Okay, nice. Another cool thing is to use the second pitch here and combine it with an LFO. So now you see the pitch is modulated by the LFO, and that sounds like this. Yeah, thank you for listening. And again, if you want to support me, you can subscribe, become a Patreon. And if you have any question, then ask me in the comments, and see you in the next video. Bye.